Well, people, you've already seen me mess up, and I just started my video. Anyways, welcome to this week's Stitch With Me After Party. The Off the Grid Stitch With Me After Party. Saturday After Party. I am Ginger Gerald, or you can call me Gerald, but I am Ginger Gerald on Instagram at Ginger Gerald Stitcher. And I am here again working for the first time on a new piece that you have not seen yet with me stitching. This is Ornamental Joy. You've seen this piece, just not in my stitching. Videos. So this is Ornamental Joy by Country Cottage Needleworks. But as you can see, I have made my own color conversion. I am not using anything that the pattern calls for, which is fine. And actually, I've had many people ask me to do a video on how I choose the colors that I do whenever I do a conversion. So next time I have a conversion, I will try to record that for you. But I'm not sure how much there is to record because it's really kind of like I don't know, it's just a trial and error thing, and I sit down and I look at everything I have and I go from there. Anyways, you can see I'm stitching this on 40 count fabric by XJU Designs. You just saw my video this week on her wonderful fabrics. So this is, go figure, I'm working on her fabric again. This is 40 count called Red River. And I did make sure to mention in my video that her fabrics, actually I want to go the other way first. She doesn't always have all the colors all the time on her Etsy store. So if you're looking for a specific color, definitely go ahead and reach out to her and see if she can custom dye you a piece. If not, just always be on the lookout for what she posts on her Etsy store. She's always updating with new fabrics that she has dyed. So today, I thought I would talk about, well, here's what happened. During watching some of the videos and just in conversation at work and with other people throughout the week, I have really noticed how there are some adjectives that really drive me nuts. And it's just a personal thing, so if you use those words, don't take it personally, because it's just one of those things that I find extremely strange. I think that one is off. Sorry, I'm making sure I don't have, yeah. let's go ahead and rip it out again. Anyway, so I'm just not having luck here, people. Oops. Shoot. So, anyways, getting back to adjectives. There are some, so I figured I would talk about some of my pet peeves. Just things that really bug me. And I don't know why. I can't explain why. There probably isn't a good reason why. It's just, you know, those little things that just drive you nuts. And using the word delicious for something that isn't food or drink related blows my mind and drives me nuts, and I don't know why. It's one of those words that makes it like, how can something, calling a baby delicious, like, did you taste the baby? That was one that came up at work this week because I have a coworker that just had a baby, and she's like, "Isn't he delicious?" I'm like, I don't think I want to eat him. Anyways. Let's go at this again. So as you can see, with my color conversion, the current color I am working with is a color and cotton thread, and you've heard me say many, many times, I love her threads. This is color and cotton. I don't know if you can read that or not. It's winter wheat. A lovely yellow, slightly variegated, golden yellow. You know, I love my golds. Now let's make sure I get this one right. I'm having a hard time for some reason seeing this fabric today. And I don't know why, because I will say for this 40 count, and it might be because of the red versus the autumn leaves that I'm doing Let Freedom Ring on, I find this does seem to be a little tighter of a weave, and I'm struggling with seeing where the holes are tonight for some reason. And it might just be because I haven't stitched on it for a while. So yes, one of my pet peeves is using words to describe things that make no sense. For another example, words that describe wine. I love wine. I love red wine. I'm a red wine drinker, if I drink wine. But how can a liquid be dry? Makes no sense. It blows my mind. I don't know. And you're all thinking that, wow, he's nuts, but I don't get it. You know, I can understand how it can be smoky or nutty because it has those hints of flavor, but how does someone come up with saying a wine is dry? Okay, y'all, or yins, or whatever you want to say, I am back now. I had an interruption of a phone call. So where was I? Oh yes, calling wine dry. I'm sorry, I just don't get it. So if you do get it, feel free to put it in the comments below. Because I would love to know how something is considered dry when it is definitely not dry. So as you can see, well, hopefully you can see if you are watching, when like Caroline and Michelle spoke in their videos, I do a combination of English and Dutch styles? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes. In my stitching. Right now I am doing both appendages of the X or legs or whatever you want to call it at the same time because of the way the stitches lay and where I have to travel. But if I ever do have a spot where the stitches are in a row and it's a fairly long row, I will do, and it's not variegated, I will do one leg and then the other. Kind of like the word appendages better. I'll do one appendage and then the other. Yeah, that works better for me. So in this pattern we are doing the bottom border of the picture and then I will be done. I would like to thank you all for your comments and likes for my video this week on the fabrics by XG Designs. I think if you haven't tried them yet, you will absolutely love them, so go check them out. And now I'm going to do a plug for Color and Cotton. If you haven't checked out Color and Cotton yet, go check Angela's store out. Just like Jukas in Hungary, XG Designs, Angela is an entrepreneur who does her own dyeing. She's basically a one-man band. However, at times I do know her grandmother, or whatever she calls her grandmother, Nana or something like that, does help do the ironing. She posted on Instagram, which was pretty cool. So, and Angela has her own. She started with threads and then has moved into fabrics, which is pretty cool. And she does her own Fabric of the Month Club too. So go check out Color and Cotton Threads. That is color with a U, the English way of spelling it, C-O-L-O-U-R, not the American way. So, pet peeve number 2, texting and using shortened words for the actual word that you're trying to say. Drives me bonkers. Probably because I like a full conversation, because I'm one of those people that doesn't get what you're trying to say. And will easily misread the conversation. So, yeah, if you ever text me, use this full word whenever you write to me. It just makes it much easier for me. So if you're interested in the color conversion that I did for this piece, go back and look at my video. I believe it's the November 28th update video, where I provide all of the flosses that I have, all the threads that I have chosen for this piece, and explain where I use each one of those. And I have to say, I am surprised and thrilled about how many people want to watch, or at least listen to me talk while I stitch. And I will say, last week was getting pretty easy to do so. This week does seem to be a little bit harder, just because of what I'm stitching. And if you haven't followed yet on Instagram, go check out Friday. Is it Off the Grid Friday Party? I know Instagram is Friday, or Off the Grid Friday Party. But yeah, definitely go check out the Facebook and Instagram feeds for for our group. We are expanding because we've had Michelle Bendy Stitchy and Letitia Crafty Curator create videos last weekend, which was exciting and fun. And I'm definitely looking forward to watching their videos. I hope Letitia does one again this week. I know Michelle is planning on doing one for a Sunday brunch, or at least last I knew she was. So it's always lots of fun, just because I'm the only one in my area that I know that stitches. I'm sure there are others, I just don't know them. I am the only one of all of my friends and family that stitches. So it's nice to be able to sit here and watch and listen to people talk about stitching, because you don't have any other avenue or way of doing that. And I think that's one of the reasons why I liked going to the retreat so much, is because we could sit and stitch and talk, and it didn't matter what we were talking about, just like Letitia last week talked about pig's feet. Can't say I've ever tried pig's feet. I would be interested to sample it once. Not sure I would like it, but you know. But definitely go on to the groups to let us know what you're stitching and working on at whatever while you're watching. I always enjoy going back and seeing, and hopefully maybe finding something that catches my eye. Not that I need anything to catch my eye right now, because I have a lot of things lined up already. So I did short. One, two, three, four, five, six. I didn't do enough over here. How I do when I have paper copies, I have a copy of my paper copy attached to my project with my needle minder, so I can easily just look up and down. Let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yep. Okay. And because it's such a dark fabric, I don't care about carrying threads. I carry them. I'm not one of those people that worry about what the back of my project looks like, because it's going to be framed or finished in a way that you're not going to see it anyways. Let me go ahead and finish off this thread because it's getting a little long and straggly. And what I said, I had promised that I would show, let me see, let me get the right, how I thread my metallic threads, because I do not buy needle threaders, and usually with metallic threads I'm able to thread it just by putting it through the needle. I do use size 28 needles, like right there. I was able to do it, no issue. But if the tips ever start to get frayed, what I do is I take, and this is what I learned initially to thread, because I always as a child had a hard time threading my needle. So my mother taught me to take a small piece of paper that's going to fit through the end of your needle. So you're going to cut a little sliver off of a scrap piece of paper, and as you can see, it fits through my needle. And then what you do is you fold it in half. You put the the thread or whatever you're using in the middle. You then thread the paper through the needle, pull through, and there you go. Now you will see, of course, eventually your paper wears out, and all you have to do is go cut a new piece of paper. And it saves you the cost of all those expensive needle threaders at the stores. So we are going to go ahead and stitch a little bit with metallic. So it's not boring yellow for the, and for this I'm using Petite Treasure braid, and this is PB58. And this is actually the same Petite Treasure braid that was called for in Crowns of the Kingdom. So that's actually why I was able to utilize this thread for this project. So last night I was driving home from work, and normally it would take me about 10 minutes to drive home. But because it started snowing right around closing time for offices and schools, because I get out at 3 o'clock on Fridays, and with the roads being kind of rough, because we were supposed to get about 1 to 3 inches of snow. Looks like we got about that. I'm always a bad judge of how much we actually get, but it took me an hour to get home from work last night. So instead of 10 minutes, it took me an hour. I was not thrilled because it was a rough day at work to begin with. Just with, the holidays are coming up, so students start to get rowdy and behaviors build, and I work with students that have lots of behaviors just because they're not able to express their feelings. So yeah, it's been a rough couple weeks at work, and on top of that, I had my final papers for my class to do this week, and so Thursday I came home from a rough day at work, slept for 3 hours, got up, wrote a paper for 4 hours, and went back to bed. So yeah, it's been a very unproductive stitching week for me. So I'm hoping to make some ground up this weekend with our Stitch With Me videos. But then this afternoon I have some plans. I'm going to Longwood Gardens, which is like a conservatory type place here in the Philadelphia region, and they do a wonderful light and flower show every year for Christmas, along with other events throughout the year. So I'm excited to go to that. This is the first time I've ever been to this one. I've been to Phipps Conservatory in Pittsburgh many, many, many times. So exciting. I'm excited to go see that because I will say I love gardening and I love flowers, and so this will be a lot of fun to go to. And by the way, oh my gosh, what is her name? A big shout out to, we had a person join the Facebook group from Pittsburgh. Where did I put my iPad? Let me look it up real quick here. No. I thread my needle. The group, by the way, I just looked it up here, is Friday Off the Grid. So if you're interested, all you have to do is go to the site, and Caroline, you have to answer questions saying where you heard about Friday Off the Grid, and let Caroline know, and send the request, and she will as quickly as she can, accept you to the group. And it's been a while, so let's see here. Looking, scrolling. So many people. Linda from Pittsburgh. Hi, Linda. Go Steelers. Let's hope they win this week. We're on a roll here. A very, very tight last, end of the game winning streak here, but I guess it leads to a good game, right? So again, when I start my threads, I always hold the tail in the back. I don't do that Borgello tuck thing. And then stitch over it a few times and it's anchored. Good enough for me. So I'm curious, does anybody have traditions? I know many families have like holiday traditions on the actual days itself, but do anybody other have traditions that they do previous to the holidays? I know many people do cookie baking. They get together with friends and family and do that kind of thing. I personally don't have any, but I'd be curious as to what people do for their pre-holiday traditions. Also, I've had many quite people ask me for my Let Freedom ring, what kind of frame I have that on. I have that on an 11 by 17 Q-snap, and I just attached the Q snap to my Lowry stand. This is actually an 11 by 11 Lowry frame, or not Lowry frame. Scroll. It's an 11 by 11 Q snap. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we have 1, 2, 3. So, going back to my pet peeves, I would love to know what kind of pet peeves you have. What are those things that just drive you nuts? And you can't really explain why. Because we all have them. And it's interesting how different things bother different people differently. Just like I'm sure many people, well, I know many people don't have the same pet peeves as I do, because how many people write poor grammar in their text messages? Maybe that's just the nerd in me, but one, two, good. So I always go back, and once I get to an area that looks like it can be, that you can figure out where you're at. Interesting. Well, I think I'm going to have to frog a lot of this out now because I just realized that it's all wrong. So on that note, I think this is where we're going to end my stitching for the day. And we might have to put this away and go back to Let Freedom Ring for a while and let this settle because, I don't know. I am not sure what I did or what's going on.